And we've had a very long day. I think we're at the conclusion of today, and we'll have some closing words.
We'll continue in English.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. It was a great day. Lots of wonderful experiences shared. And on behalf of the Global Compact Network Turkey, I would like to really both welcome and congratulate all who have contributed to this. But I'll make a couple of comments about today and a few recommendations, if I may. First of all, I think having a network which involves academia, NGOs, and the business world is extremely important. Because we all have a lot to learn from each other. And learning requires different types of focuses. And diversity is the best way of learning, actually. And bringing these diverse environments together is extremely important in terms of learning. Second, I think we should be quite hopeful, not pessimistic about the SDGs. Because MDGs were not prepared with as much meticulousness as SDGs, yet they have made a significant change in a lot of people's lives, even the MDGs. SDGs were developed perhaps with the broadest level of consultation of any goal in the world. More than 1,500 companies, members of the Global Compact networks around the world. And not only companies, but also NGOs, academia, and the public sector were involved in prioritizing them, in identifying the goals. So there has already been a lot of communication before the acceptance of the SDGs. When the acceptance was coming, there were more than 174 leaders of the government present. And that's extremely important. They were there. They signed up for it. And actually, we already had great examples. In the previous panel, we already heard a couple of great examples from Turkey, but there are great examples of companies all around the world. I'll give you one company's example without giving the name. For those who are interested, I'll give the name later on. This company has identified 6 of the SDGs to make a positive contribution, and all the rest to not to make a negative contribution. Identify the top 19 executives, 17 executives, and assigned one of those SDGs to each one of them, and it's part of their KPIs. Furthermore, they have only 9 KPIs for their bonuses. And 3 of them are financial. You have to get your EBITDA, sales, and so forth. And unless you make them, you don't get any bonuses. But the level of bonus is determined on the improvement they can make on the SDG, not on the improvement on the goal of the financial results. I think this is an amazing system for motivating people, focusing people, and so forth. So I'd like to tie this to the recommendations that I'd like to make. First of all, in the Turkish network, we have identified a number of policies, strategies, to be able to bring the SDGs and principled business behavior into reality. One of them is leveraging natural allies and incentives. What do I mean by this? We are working with banks to make sure that they incorporate the Global Compact principles into their credit evaluation process. And SDGs, their credit evaluation process. Actually, one of the banks already mentioned about that. We're also working with owners of large supply chains to incorporate, again, these things into their purchasing behavior, into their purchasing contracts. Because they have the capability to check their supply chain. And if there's a failure in any one of these areas in their supply chain, they get hurt anyway. So it's a great risk management tool, actually. But the moment they begin to put them into these contracts and so forth, incentives, then it broadens, the implementation gets broadened in a very significant manner. Similarly, I think we should align our incentives with the SDGs. This is a major task that the world has to go through. For example, we are talking about an important problem of youth unemployment. Okay. However, we are taxing employment, and we are giving incentives to people who are not working, subsidizing. We are talking about the great need of innovation. We are taxing value added. But we are not taxing carbon. So negative externalities has to be taxed, positive externalities should not be taxed. Obviously, this is easier said than done, but I think there is a lot of research area to be focused on this, because in the past we have legacy systems. Whatever we were able to measure more easily, we were taxing them. Okay? Not because that's something that we want less of, but it was because we are able to measure it more easily. Right now, with the technology, we can measure negative externalities much more easily. And to the extent that rather than increasing taxes or providing tax incentives or whatever on the margins, restructuring the whole tax system so that we tax negative externalities and do not tax positive externalities will make the biggest impact on the SDGs. So we have to look at it on an economic side, we have to look at it from technological side, and we have to devise mechanisms as the universities as to how to change this system of providing the right incentives. I think this is extremely important. The second thing is that I think academia is extremely important, because without proper research, we cannot convince people, we cannot produce content, and content is what produces change in the mind. We need to produce content, and also we need to put resources into communicating this. One area where academia is really a bit weak is that in the communication area. We produce a lot of stuff, it just sits on the bookshelves. We have to make sure that they are translated into policy issues, how it influences policy, and also we have to be behind it to communicate it more effectively. And one of our best communication methodologies is our students. They are the next generation. They communicate much more effectively than the rest of us. So we have to utilize that communication strategy as well. So in a nutshell, the Global Compact has been quite instrumental in both helping develop the SDGs, and we are really putting a lot of incentive mechanisms so that the implementation will move forward. But we need the support of all different types of institutions, like the academia, NGOs, and the public sector, and so forth. And it's a great convening ground, the Global Compact, because when we were dealing with the prioritization of the SDGs for Turkey, we conducted workshops with the public sector, private sector, NGOs, SMEs, and so forth. And it is the largest sustainability platform in the world. And we learn from each other. For example, Italy network learns from us, we learn from another one. So it's a great learning platform as well. And one of the best ways of improving learning is reporting, publicly reporting our results on SDGs. Even if they're not great, forcing reporting is important. And an emerging standard for reporting is integrated reporting. And that is something that will really help everybody to understand the impact of these issues for the future of the humanity. And my company is also a knowledge partner for B20 on governance and sustainability. And these are part of the recommendations that we are making to G20. And we hope that it will continue through the Chinese leadership as well. And I think SDSN will play an extremely important role in making life quality better and bringing humanity to a better position by producing content, by pushing for communication, and I hope aligning incentives with what we want. Thank you.